What is happening, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode on Nightcrawler TV. Today we're going to be talking about two gangster twin brothers from the Manchester area. So let's delve right into the story of the Berkeley twins. Manchester gangsters Marvin and Michael Berkeley came to prominence in the early 2000s. Marvin Berkeley had already carved out a formidable reputation on the violent and bloody streets of Manchester's Gangland, despite the fact he was barely in his 20s. Marvin and twin brother Michael had risen from teenage asbos to shot callers in what was called the Fallowfield Mafia, a splinter group of Moss Side's notorious Gooch gang. The Fallowfield Mafia began life in the early 2000s. They were initially known more for antisocial behaviour rather than being serious criminals and serious criminality. Ben Black, in the book Shooters, wrote, "They were considered more of a neighbourhood nuisance than hardened gangsters, and no one outside their turf would have known who they were." However, in January 2003, that all changed when 19-year-old Marcus Fullerton was shot dead on Thelwell Street in Fallowfield after an argument. Now, this incident should have served as a warning to any local lads, but instead, a number of lads who had grown up with Marcus and who called themselves the Fallowfield Mafia were drawn into gang culture in the years following his murder. Front and centre were the Berkeley twins, and the brothers were delighted in playing the gangster. They also spotted the potential in the lucrative, if highly dangerous, pursuit of taxing drug dealers. Their thinking was simple. They thought that victims would be highly unlikely to go to the police. For a while, this racket did pay off, until the night they targeted the wrong people. Members of the Fallowfield Mafia decided in February 2006 that two men they'd seen sitting in a Mazda on a street in Gorton were drug dealers. After sitting and watching for a while, one of the gang opened a rear door and threatened the men with a screwdriver. When the driver sped off, they were ran off the road, while the back windscreen was blasted out with a shotgun. The men tried to run, but were caught, bound with plastic cable ties, and bundled into the back of a car and driven to Sale Water Park. "You're going to work for us now," they were told. One of the men was then put on the phone to Michael Berkeley, who was in prison at the time at Rye Hill in the Midlands. But he had access to a contraband mobile. Berkeley ordered, "Do what my mate says. It will be easy for you to just do what they say. If I was there, I would chop you into pieces." The pair were then dumped on the main road. In fact, these two men were not hardened drug dealers at all, just a painter and decorator and his mate. The botched kidnapping came 3 days after two of the men in a Volkswagen Golf were tailed through the streets of Hyde, Greater Manchester, by a Honda. The Honda pulled alongside the Golf and a gun was pointed through the window. One gang member threatened, "Do what we say or you're both going to get shot." The men were then interrogated about whether or not they sold drugs and ordered to phone a friend who was also taken hostage at gunpoint. 6 hours after their ordeal began, the men were let go, having been taxed of their cash and jewellery. In May 2006, Marvin was arrested with a number of others. Michael, who by then had been released from prison, was also arrested that November. Marvin, then 22, was given an indeterminate sentence after pleading guilty to conspiracy to kidnap, possession of a firearm with intent, and conspiracy to commit robbery at Manchester Crown Court in May 2007. Michael, who was also 22, was convicted for assisting offenders and was jailed for 2 years. But it wouldn't be the last time the twins found themselves on the wrong side of the law. Marvin made headlines from behind bars when it emerged he'd had an affair with a female prison guard at HMP Garth in Leland, Lancashire. The female guard became besotted with Marvin and even told a friend she wanted to have a chocolate baby with him. The guard was later jailed after being convicted of misconduct in public office. Marvin was released on licence in 2016, but he was soon back up to his old tricks, this time in Blackpool. On 3 separate occasions, he was caught selling Class A drugs to undercover police in the seaside town. More than £1,000 worth of cocaine, heroin and crack were found on him. Where at Marvin's flat, more cocaine was found with a purity of 73%. Marvin was jailed again for 4 years, and Michael was also back in court, for his role in a brutal brawl between two rival gangs. In this brawl, a rival gang member was shot in the leg. Michael Berkeley, then 34, was witnessed kicking the victim as he lay bleeding from his gunshot wound on Castle Street in Bolton. He was jailed for 12 months after pleading guilty to violent disorder. So, there we have it, guys. That is the story of Marvin and Michael Berkeley, the Berkeley twins of Manchester. By all accounts, two very dangerous gangsters from Fallowfield. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching, people. Always appreciated. And as always, be safe. Take care out there. And I will see you all again very soon on Nightcrawler TV. Take care, guys. God bless.